All right, we ready? And grab your bag and go. That's it. Move, move. Go, 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 go. One, Armani suits and run.
All right. There we go.
All right. Welcome to week 15, Armani Suits and Run. Another great week for the boys. We're on a little bit of a heater. 4-1 last week. So we were 5-0 in week 12, 3-2 in week 13, 4-1 last week. So what's that put us at? 7-3, 12-3 in the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
We got the overall record up to 34, 35-1. So we are one game below 500. We are right there on the cusp. Another big week. Even a 3-2 week puts us at 500. 4-1 obviously puts us. That'll put us a couple games over, and then we get that 5-0. We'll be feeling real good. In terms of the individual picks, I was on the Dolphins -5.5. Tell you, man, we earned that one. Dolphins jumped out to an early lead and felt like they were going to have like kind of early command of that game, and then just kind of went quiet for a little bit. Jets started to find some things on offense, and Dolphins had to fight back. Would their kicker need like a 52-yarder just to send it to OT? But he got it. Go to OT, win the coin flip, get the ball. Always good when you got to cover the points in OT and you get the ball first, because you get the touchdown. You just shut them out right there, and that's what they did. Went down the field, got the TD. Was that the one that John Smith too? I think it did.
Johnny Smith had 50 yards on that last drive. He had no catches the entire game.
And then
Had
he
like three catches, 50 yards, and like a touchdown.
It was unbelievable. But
Crazy.
I mean, couldn't have drawn up a better comeback for the Dolphins for that pick. So that was huge. Obviously, would have been devastating to be on the other side of that. So that was a good win. Kieran, you were on the Giants +4.5. I feel like that was another one we were like sweating out a little bit, because it was like, what was it? They were there, they had the cover, and we almost didn't want the game to go to OT because we had it.
Yeah, they were like sitting right on the number pretty much all afternoon. So it was just one of
Yeah.
those where anytime that they'd give up points, it's like, well, shit, because you can't feel too confident about the Giants getting those points back. But yeah, they were just right on it. Like they were never getting blown out. They were never really running away with any sort of lead. So it was just kind of uncomfortable because you didn't really know how to feel. But yeah, I mean, I think we were saying we did not want to see two games go to overtime. It just feels like we're kind of pushing our luck there. So it was good to
Yeah.
just end it the way that we ended it, and then
The
just
read,
kinda lock
the
that up.
read was right though. I mean, back-to-back weeks, fading Carr,
Now he's gone.
and now he's gone. I mean, I feel like we did that to him. So
Honestly, it could be a good thing though because it almost takes away from trying to chase that trend.
yeah,
And then obviously there are still games, and I think it's a little enticing when they bring in a guy like Jake Haener as well. But then all of a sudden you're just looking at something different. It's a different read. So
yeah,
it's kind of good for us to just get in, use Carr for those two wins, and then just get out. And
get out.
we're not
Yeah,
we're not gonna get caught with our pants down and just pushing it, pushing it, pushing it.
yeah, yeah. And then Bowen, you were on the Vikings -5.5. Great win there. And talk about the game. Talk about your feels.
Falcons secondary is god awful. Kieran and I actually we watched the 1 o'clock slate together at my house
Yep.
with baby Lila, Addison, one touchdown, two touchdown, three touchdown. Special day, special afternoon to be sharing some TV with Kieran. So that game was like the feel good game of the day. The other games were sweaty as fuck. So it was good to have one game that was just kind of ridiculous with a bunch of deep balls and not a very close score by like middle of the third quarter. So
Great vibes in that house too with the Jordan Addison game.
I was
oh,
like, you
insane.
should have seen us jumping around. Abby and Gianna, they were in the other room, just doing whatever, and it was me. I was sitting on the couch. I believe I had Lila in my arms, And all of a sudden, Addison, I think that was when he scored either his second or his third. And, Bowen and I, we both were betting on Addison to score two. Gianna had Addison to score two. And we were just jumping around. Millie joined in on it. And we were just
Yeah.
like literally like on like the tips of our toes, jumping around. Like,
Going, watch the neck, watch the neck.
yeah.
Support the head.
Yeah, so that was a fun game. It was close there for a second. I thought we were actually
Well,
gonna
they
get.
were tied.
I
They were
thought it was gonna
tied.
be. I thought it was gonna be like an ugly ending, like with the number that we had. I think it was 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5.
That was just like didn't really feel like a 5.5 game. Felt like it was gonna be closer, and then,
Yeah.
but I mean the Falcons really they're just lifeless.
Yeah, it was tied 21-21 heading into the fourth, and then Vikings just ripped off three scores. So, all right, and then well, we go to Sunday night. We were on the Chiefs, -4.5. Once again, like I feel like they've done multiple times this year, the Chiefs fucked us. Remarkable how they continue to do this. Not just in terms of our, any time that we've, bet with them or bet against them, but just in general, the way that they continue to find, ways to win is like it's unbelievable. But what was the lead they had at the half? I mean, they were shutting them out at the half.
Yeah, it was like 13
Like
nothing, maybe 10
13-0.
nothing.
Yeah. And then they just did absolutely nothing in the
Fuck,
second half.
I literally put that game. I like totally forgot about that game. I think I did it on purpose. That was a miserable game.
Yeah.
Absolutely miserable game.
Yeah. I mean, up 13-0 at the half, give up two touchdowns, go into the fourth quarter trailing 14-13. They take a lead, and then, Chargers get the field goal, go up 17-16. And at that point, we knew exactly what was going to happen. I mean,
Mhm.
Kieran, I think you even texted it. You were just like, I think after they got the first down, you were just like, oh God, they're going to run out the clock.
Yeah.
And they did. And
As they should, but
I mean, sure, they're
yeah.
entitled. In terms of NFL strategy, it is the proper play. Obviously, he was not in favor of our bet. Um, and then the kicker doinked it in.
Mm.
Nobody doinks it in, and
No.
it's unbelievable. Um, so that was a little bit of a gut punch. But again, zoom out, keep perspective. At that point, we were still 3-1 on the week, having a great week, guaranteed a positive week. Head into Monday Night Football. I actually was like not really able to watch this game because I was traveling to Atlanta for work. And then I think I had to do a dinner. And then I got back to my room. It was like 5 minutes left in the game. So I tried to put it on. I laid down in my hotel room with my phone on my chest, trying to watch the game, and then I woke up like 3 hours later. So I completely missed the ending, basically missed the entire game. But from what I read, what was it? A block punt. The Bengals were punting. Cowboys blocked it. It actually went forward. The Bengals recovered.
Yeah, it was just one of those where it's like you have no clue what the rule is. Like you're just like
Yeah.
what how like you watch it happen, you're like, I don't know what the hell just went on. But yeah, I guess they blocked the punt, they played it perfect, and then the guy just was a dummy and touched it. And I think it's one of those things he probably just had no clue. He's like, yeah, I think I
Nope.
can just touch the ball. I think it's just
Yeah.
but it is. There's like I don't know. It's like with field goals and punts. It's like if you block it one way, it's ruled one thing, and then if you
Yeah.
block it the other way, it's ruled the other. I still don't really understand what it is, but
Awesome. Well, we got the win. Bengals scored. We covered. Costanza moves to 2-0 on the season. So he's undefeated. We wrapped up a 4-1 week. Now we're in a great spot and into week 15.
Man, that being a Costanza game just really, really just shows how powerful he can be. Like of all games
I
for
think it
that
just
for that
speaks
to be Costanza
to
on.
betting in general. It's like I mean, how often do you have average Joes like us that are like, oh, this is a fucking lock. This is a fucking lock. Even, like I listen to Son of a Boy Dad every week, and on their second episode of the week, they always do a parlay, the three of them together. And, Sass, I think Sass is like his first year really getting into football.
Yeah.
So they'll go through every single game, and he's one of those where it's like, like when you look at a spread, people will be like, "Oh, like it's not going over. Like it's like these two quarterbacks, like they fucking suck." It's like, well, yeah, but that's like baked into it, and that's why the
Yeah.
total is at like 38.
Yeah.
Like one team just needs to score 20 points, and you're probably looking at a good chance of the over. But he looks at it like so black and white, like what, like the Pats are not covering against the Cardinals. It's like, well, I don't know. It's a pretty big spread. Like it's not like we're asking them to win or anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so easy to like look at those things and be like, oh, this is the easy one. This is the easy one. And a lot of times, the one that feels like an absolute lock is
Yeah.
the worst bet on your card.
Yep.
I always say I feel like I'm like winless in my like best bets, like that type of thing. Like the ones that I
Oh,
want to put more than one unit on or anything, I almost never win those.
yeah. No, it's absolutely true. Yep. All
All
right,
right.
should we get into week 15? So we'll do our wheel for
Yep.
our individual picks. And then for the primetime games, it's we're gonna have four games on there, right, Kieran? Because
Yeah.
we've got Sunday night game, two Monday night games, and then we'll have the man Campbell. Will be the wild card in there.
Yep. So we'll spin that wheel for two. So we'll do one,
Yep.
do our picks, and
Yep.
then do another. And of course, if it's the man Campbell, then not much analysis needed there. But
Yep.
all right, share screen. All right. Okay. Okay. I'm taking the Commanders -7.5. And I know I was just talking about how now that Carr is done, you can't really chase that trend at all. And that
Mhm.
actually, I don't think that would apply. I don't know where the Commanders actually rank when it comes to points allowed on defense. So there was that aspect, and then there was also,
But he's
uh,
like you said, he's out.
yeah,
So
and there was also Derek Carr against the bad team. So it's not even like the Commanders were a bad team like that. But here they are. They're playing Jake Haener. Obviously they don't want to go back to Spencer Rattler. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if he's dealing with any sort of injury or if they just feel like he's not ready for that. But I see it as this. It's the Commanders coming off of a bye week, so you have a rookie quarterback coming off of a bye. I think it comes at a good time because I think that, there was starting to be the Kingsbury cliff. People were talking about, was it really Kyler Murray that was falling off in October? Or was it Cliff Kingsbury? So I think the bye actually came at a good time for them to kind of step back, reset. I always like looking at rookies, especially rookie quarterbacks coming out of the bye. It's also Jaden Daniels returning to New Orleans. When Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase went back to the Superdome and they played, or I guess I don't even know what it's called anymore, and they played the Saints. There was a small win. They only won by a few points. I think that was when Breeze might have still been playing, but they put up like insane numbers. So I'm expecting Jaden Daniels to go back, Heisman winner. He's still fighting for that Rookie of the Year. I know that his case has started to fade in recent weeks with the emergence of Bo Nix. A lot of people outside they want to put Brock Bowers in that conversation as well. So he needs to come out and put up a performance himself to really reestablish himself as the favorite in that conversation. But it's a big number, but I do think it's warranted. I think it's a good matchup for Brian Robinson. I think it's a good matchup for Terry McLaurin. I think that they're just going to play the hits. I think it's going to be a Robinson touchdown, McLaurin touchdown. Might even see Jaden Daniels run one in himself, but I think it's going to be big numbers from that offense. I believe they're getting Marshawn Lattimore playing this week. I know he's been back practicing. He'll be going against his old team. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll go. I'm going to go with Commanders -7.5 at New Orleans.
I had it on my card. Um, I think there was a little hesitancy of like, new quarterback, like, what is,
But we've seen Hayner play too. It's not like
yeah,
it's his first time
yeah,
playing.
it's yeah. And but yeah, it's Jaden Daniels Commanders have dominated teams below 500. That's kind of been their shtick. Um, and I just agree with everything you said. And it's like with the Saints, how undermanned they are. Marshawn Lattimore legacy game. I just feel like this is a good spot coming off the bye. So I had it on my card. It was at one point my number one pick. Got bumped just before the call, so it was a strong top two pick for me.
Yeah, similar to me, or similar for me. They were on the card, just everything that you guys have said. Um, it's an enticing game, it has blowout potential, so spread doesn't really bother me at all with that 7.5. Think this could get well over that. So yeah, like the pick, like that is on the card.
All right. All right. Let's get back to it.
Really curious to see how this plays out because I feel like Bowen and I might have a similar pick.
Left no doubt.
We're gonna
Right in the
find
middle of
out.
his slice.
All right. So I actually just got a. Oh, 1 second. Just flipped my camera the wrong way. I got a
Uh,
special delivery.
Oh wow.
uh,
It's the Lila B pick of the millennium.
this pick
Uh,
can't lose. Can't lose.
so it's actually kind of a
The pick
play
for a
on
lifetime.
Lila B. It's the Panthers -2.5 at home against the Cowboys. Bryce Young is small, petite, tiny. So is Lila B. I see a lot of correlation between them. Starting with their size, they're both tiny. But aside from that, they're just fighters. They're both just fighters. Seeing Bryce, the past month has been a top half quarterback in the league. I don't think that's any bias because I have some Bryce stock, or anything. I mean, if you just watch the games, he's balling. He's doing a lot with a little, and it hasn't really correlated to wins yet. But last week we saw Leggett had that ball that he rolled into the end zone with. If he just caught that, they would have had 20 seconds left and been up, I think, more than a field goal.
Yep.
So and there's been a few other cases of in the past month, similar situations like that with these Panthers. So Chuba Hubbard has been, I mean, an RB1 all year, and I think that he continues to show that this week. The Cowboys lost the Marvian Overshone, who's been one of their best defensive players, and really their big energy bringer, pretty much all season, especially when Micah was out. So losing him in a tough injury, I think he's going to be out for most of next year too. It sounds like he has a lot of ligament damage in his knee, and the players were pretty beat up about it. So just feels like one of those games where I know the Panthers are favorites for the first time in ever, 2.5 points, but I just think that the two teams trending in way different directions. Bryce and those Panthers are due for a win. I think they're going to be able to move the ball pretty easily, and I think I'll take a Chuba Hubbard like 2 touchdown day.
I like to hear it. I mean, I got Hubbard going in a big fantasy matchup this week, so that's music to my ears. But I agree. I think it's a good matchup for them. Generally, I get a little sketched out when it's teams like this that are finally becoming favorites. I think it's like their first time being a favorite, and I forget how long. I don't know if you mentioned the year. So I do get a little scared by stuff like that, but at the same time, I'm just looking at the matchup itself and kind of removing that from the equation. And I mean, it's Carolina at home, right?
Yep.
And like you said, they've been playing well, and I actually think that it's going to play in their favor that they can actually spread the ball out a little bit more. I mean, Thielen's been playing really well. I think he's actually been playing better than CeeDee Lamb over the last few weeks. Since he came back and got reunited with Bryce Young, who he was a 1,000-yard receiver with him last year. But Thielen's been playing really well. Leggett, even with the wrist injury that they're talking about him getting repaired, he has been playing well for a rookie. Of course, that drop was brutal, but I think he's a good player. I mean, it seems like he's keeping his head up about it. I saw him doing, interviews and stuff like that. So, I think that he's built for these types of things. Like, I don't think he's going to be a guy that's like a head case that gets destroyed by that. But yeah, like they're playing well. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. Actually, I really like the over. In this one, I think that they're both going to put up 20 plus points. But yeah, I just think that Carolina's actually better equipped to just distribute the ball more. Where Cooper Rush is clearly hyper fixated on CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's been getting an insane amount of targets since Rush has taken over, but he's not had an insane amount of yards. It's like I don't know if his average depth of target is low, but they're not getting a ton of yards from these receptions or anything. So it's like, I mean, he's going to be fixated on him. And then the rest of the guys just kind of bring up the rear with like 20, 30 receiving yards each. But yeah, I think Carolina's better equipped to just distribute the ball all over. They have a really good run game. Bryce Young, I think he's feeling good, and I think that I like taking them to just keep it going. Even I mean, I don't even know what the record has been since Bryce Young has come back, but I like them just keep playing hard and playing well. And even if you're losing, which I mean that would not be good in this instance, but they're putting in good results, right? They've lost their last three, but it's by 3 points, 3 points, and 6 points. And two of those games are the two of the best teams in the league. So I feel like they're so due for a win. So I like having them on this side.
Covered five straight. Haven't done that since they covered six with Cam in 2013. They've got the longest active streak in the NFL.
Well,
And Bryce is 7-4-1 against the spread against teams below 500. So this was on my card. It's my third pick. So I was on this. Love the pick. Support the pick. Let's
All
go.
right. Hey, lie. All right. All right.
Right. So it's interesting. We find ourselves in a similar spot to last week. Because all three picks that we had were actually all three picks that I had on my card. So I'm taking that as like really positive vibes. We went 3-0 with that last week, and it's gonna happen again this week. But I got this was actually my number one pick. It was a late bump, but I'm gonna go Bengals -5 over the Titans. And Kieran, I apologize. I know Will Levis is your boy. It's not personal, this is business. But I think this is a great spot for Burrow just based on his history. I think like foundationally Titans 2-11 against the spread this year. It's the worst of any team since the 2016 Browns. So that's obviously one thing, going in their favor. But Burrow's 15-7 ATS against teams under 500. On short rest, he's 7-3 against the spread, 5-1 as a favorite of three or more. And Burrow's 11-4 ATS on the back end of a back-to-back road trip. So he's been in a spot like this playing against a team under 500. He's got, he's played well on the road, back-to-back road trips. I just feel like, again, I look at this Bengals team and just continue to feel like there's way too much talent on that field. I think when you stack the two teams up side by side, I just think there's more talent there. I know the Bengals have not, necessarily been playing like to their full potential. But I just feel like this is too good of a team, and I think going against a team with a bad record and especially a bad record against the spread, I like the number. I like their ability to cover 5. So going with the Bengals.
Yeah, I think it's a fair pick. This was a matchup I was looking at from fantasy perspective, just because I have Levis on my dynasty team. But I was reading. I don't know. I'm trying to find it now. Let me see. Actually, it's even mentioned in this one. I don't know. I don't know if there's supposed to be any rain or anything in the forecast, but I do think, regardless, it's going to be a pretty windy day. And I know Levis. He's kind of dealing. He got sacked pretty bad last week, and his shoulder that he hurt with the AC joint, he was kind of wincing in pain. It was right before the half, but he came back out and he finished he ended up playing the whole second half, finishing the game. But I do think that with wind being a factor here, I think it's going to be a little bit tough for him. I think that, when you're looking at this matchup, I was thinking like, holy shit, Levis is just going to let it rip against this Bengals secondary. Nick Westbrook-Akine, touchdown down the sideline, all that type of stuff. Tony Pollard, he can run wild, just like we saw Rico Dowdle playing last week. And, Pollard can still have a good game. He was resting his foot this week. I think he's going to be good to go, but it's like that kind of worries me a little bit. Are they going to try and preserve him and give Tajay Spears a little more snaps? I think Spears is not very great. But I think with that win, it's just going to be tough for Levis to do what he does. And, they're going to be doing a lot of short targets. I feel like that's what works in that offense. And they
Whoa.
set it up with the big bomb, whether it's to Ridley or Westbrook Akine downfield. But if it's going to be windy, that might take that out of the equation. And I think that that's just going to be tough for the Titans team to hang around. I mean, Chase Brown, he's been really good. He can run the ball, but he can also catch the ball out of the backfield, be very effective as a receiver there. And then Jamar Chase is just inevitable. I've seen some people, they think that T. Higgins, they're including him in that squeaky wheel thing. They were talking about Debo Samuel, they were talking about A.J. Brown. I didn't see T. Higgins complaining. I saw him on Twitter just being like, I know y'all, talking to his fantasy owners, like, my bad. I know you guys needed me, but I didn't really see him being like pissed that he wasn't getting the ball or anything. I think it's just going to
Yeah.
be continue going to Jamar Chase. I think there is a sense of urgency here with these Bengals. They know that they need to play absolutely perfect football moving forward. And, there is like a little bit of an aspect of Brian Callahan revenge game. He was the OC for Cincinnati the last couple of years. I don't know if he's a great coach. I'm not sold on him as a coach. I know that maybe my vision's a little cloudy when it comes to, my bias towards Will Levis, but I don't think that he's the huge problem here. I do think that there's a play calling issue. I do think there's an offensive line issue. Also, that defense and special teams is like, especially the special teams, is the worst
Yeah.
in the league. I think that there are a lot of issues with that Titans team. So I don't know if he's going to come in and, get the best of Zach Taylor. And that Bengals offense has been pretty good since he left too. So, I don't know if he was really the straw stirring the drink. So, yeah, I mean, I like it. It was a game I was looking at for fantasy implications, but yeah, it's tough for me to take the Titans side here.
Yeah, I mean, definitely was leaning Bengals. They weren't on my card, but for everything you guys have said, I like to pick a lot. I would not want to be on the Titans side for this week at all. It could be Bengals could be putting up a crooked number on them. You know, don't like you guys said. Don't think Levis and that supporting cast will be able to take advantage of the Bengals defense as much as they will need to. So yeah, like it.
Yeah, I think we'll see like how the wind affects it, but I think this could be another like pretty high scoring game too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at it. It's like, multiple touchdowns allowed to quarterbacks in the last couple of weeks for both teams. Running backs are scoring most weeks. Wide
Yeah.
receiver ones and twos are scoring. Tight ends are scoring. So, I mean, I think that anyone can really get loose in this game. But yeah, I just think that with how the Bengals are playing right now, I feel like there almost needs to be a tax on their spread because you just got to figure they're bringing it every single drive.
Look at that. Unbelievable.
All right, let me make sure I got the right wheel. All right, we got the Man Campbell and primetime wheel.
Look at this.
Getting busy on this wheel.
Look at
This wheel is incredible.
unbelievable.
All right, here we go. Oh my God. Wow. All right.
Oh,
Sunday
wow.
night, right? That's a Sunday night matchup, right?
Yeah, Sunday night.
All right, so now we got to go back to the wheel.
It's a 3-point.
Two and
3-point
a
spread.
half.
2.5.
Seahawks are 2.5-point home dogs.
Got it.
Oh. Oh. Wow.
Oh, wait, that's me.
I thought it was me. I actually thought it was me. I thought it crossed over.
I did too. I thought it crossed over.
No,
Wow. All right. I'm gonna go Seahawks plus 2.5. Gino 9-5 against the spread in night games. As a starter in his career with the Jets and the Seahawks. Packers on the road back to back. Coming off a game against the Lions in which the defense was on the field for 70 plays. In this spot, teams are 72 and 103 straight up in the last decade. When they're coming off a game in which their defense was on the field for 70 plays. I know they had a little bit of extra time because it was a Thursday game, but the amount of plays they were on the field and it was against the Lions, very punishing game. I think that plays in our favor. LaFleur has traditionally been good against good teams, 28, 17, and 1 against teams that are above 500, but he is 0-3 and 1 in this spot this season. So something's not quite clicking for our boy. So yeah, I like the Seahawks at home getting the points. I think they're like a interesting team that's like I don't know, to me kind of flying under the radar. That's been a really interesting division and that, they've kind of been sitting at the top of it very quietly all season long. Obviously the 49ers have been having some issues. Rams have kind of been climbing back. I think they've now won like five of their last six. So they're kind of come out of nowhere to get themselves in a position. I think they're like half a game back now. Cardinals have been, kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team where, one week they look like world beaters, the next they look terrible. But Seahawks like very quietly, I feel like positioning themselves to be that 3 seed. So, um, Packers too, coming off a tough game against the Lions. I continue to feel a little underwhelmed with them. I feel like there's a lot of potential and I feel like they continue to leave a lot on the table. So I like Seattle getting the points at home.
Okay. Okay. I want Seattle as well. There is that aspect of just fading the team that just played the Lions. That does play in, but yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a close matchup. I really do. So I think I just kind of lean the home dog in that spot. But yeah, I think it's kind of like what you were saying, Tristan, about LaFleur typically in the spot against teams with this record or whatever. He typically plays well, but recently he hasn't been. I'm just, yeah, I feel like Seattle's just going to keep things interesting at the top of that division. Of course, we got the Rams kind of, keeping themselves in the conversation. Arizona might be falling out of that, but they're in a spot to get a win back this week. So I think that things are going to get interesting. It feels kind of too easy for the Packers, because this is kind of a spot this week, and we'll see if the Man Campbell pick comes through. But this is a losable spot for Detroit here, so there is an opportunity for Green Bay to try and gain some ground. But that just feels too easy to me. I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying into that, but I'm just looking at the matchups, and yeah, I don't know. I think Charbonnet he can run pretty well. I think Gino is just gonna play great. And I think it's going to be one of those games where maybe it ends up being high scoring, but I think it's just going to be kind of like a gritty slop fest. And we'll see if that turns into touchdowns or if that turns into like a crazy low scoring game. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like with the way Seattle's playing, I'm getting the vibes from them this week. So I'm going to take them as home dogs.
Tell you what, this is such an interesting spot this week with the Lions and the Bills because if the Lions happen to drop that game and the Vikings win, suddenly the Vikings find themselves in position to
Yeah.
potentially be 1 seed, and they play each other. The Eagles will be in the mix as well because they're also a two-loss team. But man, Lions
I
and
do think people, because I feel like everyone has just already decided in their head that the Lions are the best team in the league. And, I don't disagree with that. I think that just, in any matchup, they should be the favorites. But the Vikings are right on their ass. And like we're saying, this is a very losable week for them. And this is a game that they can actually, I heard that they can actually kind of afford to draw because it would be a non-conference loss. So I don't think that they'd actually, technically, they wouldn't like lose ground to Philly in the race. Like, I mean, of course, if Philly wins, they lose a game to them. But it's like when it comes to tiebreakers, it's like one of like the last tiebreakers, so it's not like the biggest deal. So it almost feels like a scheduled loss for them. But yeah, I feel like this is where the Vikings, if anybody, would take off would take advantage. But all right,
yeah,
let's get Bowen's pick in. Let's see, it's a crucial pick.
this
I
is
do like now too with the implementation of the Costanza rule. It makes every pick matter.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like before now, it'd just be like, all right, let's see like what Bowen has to say, but like it doesn't matter. Now it does matter. It matters quite a lot.
yes, yep, I agree. That's a good point.
Oh, I am not going to be able to bless us with the Costanza this week. I've been pretty strong on the Packers all week. If we were to have to pick this game, couple things why I like the matchup for them. Um, Josh Jacobs is an absolute animal. The Seahawks average like giving up 126 yards rushing a game. So bottom third of the league, right on that cusp of bottom third in the league against the run. I think that this could turn into a game like Kieran. I think you were saying it could be kind of kind of a grinded out game. Josh Jacobs thrives in that spot, and I think when rubber hits the road, they try to simplify. I know Matt LaFleur is a little guru, but when they get into these kind of games, LaFleur tries to simplify it for everybody and just run their horse. So I think if it gets into one of those type of spots, I think Josh Jacobs could find a lot of success. And Jordan Love off the play action with those guys could turn into some points. So I've been on the Packers all week. I like them a lot. So with that being said, no Costanza. We are going to Seahawks, but
I will say, so since the bye, just looking at Seattle's defense, so they've allowed 2 touchdowns to running backs, so both of those have been receiving. James Conner had one last week, and then somebody on the Jets.
when was their bye?
Week 10, so it's been 4
Okay.
weeks. So they've been decent. I mean, the run has been down. So before the bye, they were allowing 4.92 yards per carry. In the 4 weeks since the bye, they're allowing 4.09. But that's also because rushing attempts are down. About 3 less per game. So I was looking at it and I see those 2 touchdowns, but it is receiving. And Jacobs, he can have some receiving games, but that's not really his bag. So I don't know. The one thing that I'm looking at with this line with these matchups, when I'm looking at the sheet at least, is that there's no like smash spot in these games for either side. Like, I mean, like I think like I'm looking at it, it looks like a good spot for like Tyler Lockett or Christian Watson to score touchdowns, but I don't see like DK Metcalf or Josh Jacobs or either of the quarterbacks like jumping off the page. So that's why I feel like it's just going to be like a muddy battle. And yeah, I think at that point that's where I just got to say, fuck it, I got to go with the home dog. But um, all right, all right, let's go back to the wheel. Let's see.
Could we have another Man Campbell walk-off?
It would be something, especially because we've taken the last 2 weeks off with their schedule, and
The
we've actually been lucky because of that. Um,
concerning that we don't have it labeled Man Campbell.
that we don't have what?
We don't have it labeled Man Campbell.
Do I usually do that? I forget. I forget how I usually label it.
I can't remember, Bowen. Do you remember?
I want to say it usually has Man Campbell. I want to say it usually has Man.
Could be a concern.
I could also be wrong.
Bad
I
pot?
think I think it said Man Campbell pick of the week or something like that.
All right, here we go.
Just give him.
Oh, now we're
Oh my
picking.
god!
Wow. All right.
And
Maybe
it
it's
could
That's
be a thing
crushing.
because I mean, if it landed on it and I didn't label it Man Campbell like usual, then it could have been
oh,
bad
and
vibes.
and think too. I mean, what was it? Was it Thanksgiving? We didn't force the Man Campbell, and I think that paid off for us.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's good. The universe is watching over us.
All right.
I am super excited for that Bills game, Bills Lions game.
Oh, it's gonna be
That has game of the year potential.
yeah, it could be tremendous.
Not a hot take, but
And
I
it's
think
also like I said, it does feel like a very losable spot for the Lions. So I mean,
yeah.
the universe could be speaking to us here. But all right, Tristan.
What I forget what game are we picking? I was so wrapped.
Atlanta at Vegas. Vegas is the 4-point home dog.
This is the nastiest game on the card.
I was so wrapped up in the Man Campbell discussion. I didn't even see who won the. All right, I'm going Falcons -4 over the Raiders. I think there's not a whole lot of analysis to this pick other than I've been in Atlanta all week. I've been at Mercedes-Benz last night. I will be there again today. Um, I just feel like this is Kirk bounce back vibes this week. Saw the video from last week of him greeting everyone in Minnesota. Everybody loves the guy. Everybody's rooting for him. Everybody's rooting for them to win the division. This is an all vibes pick. So I'm going Falcons -4 over the Raiders. Book it.
Love it. Kind of forgot that you're in Atlanta.
I am. I'm here.
All right.
I actually just got a text from Talon.
Hey,
Maybe meeting up for a drink tonight.
that would be awesome.
I'll send evidence.
Ballin'.
Yeah, I like the Falcons this week. impossible to pick the Raiders. I think in any spot. But I do like the Falcons coming off that. I mean, they got they got beat up last week. That secondary was god awful. But I don't think the Raiders have the facilities to truly take advantage of that secondary. I know Bowers is an absolute stud. Jacoby Myers has been playing pretty good and getting those targets. But I just see it. I see it either being a Kirk game, kind of gets on his back, or Kirk little wrist injury. Michael Penix goes in, starts slinging the rock around, big lefty. Always that possibility. So I like the Falcons. I like the Falcons. I like the Falcons.
All right, every pick matters, Kieran.
Every pick matters. I was just saying.
Here we go.
What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Wow. Quite the wheel.
All right.
Okay. I'm actually happy I ended up in this spot because this is a game that I was truly torn on. Because I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the matchup. This is another game, and as I'm speaking through it, I'm thinking I might throw together an overs parlay because there are a few games that I look at when I'm looking at the sheet, and I really, really like the overs in some of these games. This is one of them. And, I look at it and I think this is a smash spot for Atlanta. They've just been playing so damn bad. I feel like, especially when the internet starts to really hone in on a guy and say, this guy's washed, this guy's terrible, whatever, that's when you got to start thinking about maybe fading that internet opinion. So it just feels like the ultimate get right spot for Atlanta. But at the same time, I'm looking at it and I really like that Vegas side. It just feels like such a small number. It almost feels like Vegas is begging you to take Atlanta, but I couldn't do it. I just feel like it's a smash spot for Atlanta. So I got to enact the Costanza rule because I like the Falcons on this side. And the reason that I like the reason that I like that I ended up here is that everything I was like, I like Vegas, but I have to take Atlanta. I have to take Atlanta. Now we're being forced to take Vegas, and I'm actually happy for it. So in a kind of weird backdoor way, it's almost a strategic play of me getting what I really want because I had Vegas. I mean, I had Atlanta. I guess I can show you right there. I had them right there with right at the bottom. That was my second Monday Night Football pick. But yeah, we got to flip it. It's all of us. And I think it's perfect. I feel like all three of us are falling right into that trap.
Yep, probably. I mean, I'm making a pick based on vibes. Bowen's making a pick based on a hypothetical injury to Cousins.
And I was making a pick I didn't want to make. I was making a pick that I was like, I love this other side, but I have to take the other. So it's
Hey, Kirk also has thrown 0 touchdowns in the past month.
That's unbelievable.
That's jarring.
That
That's
is
jarring.
unreal. It's unreal.
And I mean, I don't know what the quarterback situation is because I know AOC went down. He was carted off with the air cast, but they said it was just a bone bruise. He's been at practice. I kind of want the Desmond Ridder revenge game.
Oh,
Wait, that's in play?
That's who's next up. Yeah, because Minshew's out.
I didn't even think of this.
Yeah.
That's a Desmond Ridder revenge game on the Costanza.
Yeah, so like I don't know because like I know AOC's been at practice. I don't know to what extent he has been practicing, but I know he's been there. It's kind of the same thing. I don't know if you guys remember because I don't know if you guys were following him at the time. He was like a nobody in camp, but Tyrone Tracy, he went down with like a scary injury during camp. Like got carted off, air cast, everything, and he was back at practice the very next day. So I think it's kind of the same situation for AOC. I don't know if he's actually going to be good to go because it's still a bone bruise that he has, and Tracy was just practicing during camp. It's not like too intense, but yeah. So we'll see. But I mean, I'm hoping for the Ridder revenge game because it's either going to be hilarious that he goes out and gets revenge, or he's going to throw 5 interceptions, be god awful, and it's just.
I think you've got your main visual though for the pod video. It's Costanza and Ridder.
Yeah, we need it.
Bad boys.
Yeah.
So, I love it. I love it.
All right.
We're going Costanza. All right. So, just to recap the picks before I submit them. We got let's see. Kieran, you're on the Commanders, -7.5. I'm on the Bengals, -5. Bowen's on the Panthers, -2.5. We're taking Seahawks, home dogs, getting 2.5 against the Packers on Sunday night. Kieran and I were on that side. Bowen was on the Packers. And then for the Monday night game, Falcons Raiders, we were all on the Falcons, but we have enacted the Costanza rule, and we will be taking the Raiders +4.
All right.
Those are the picks, and I'm submitting them right now. Picks are in.
Love it.
5-0.
34, 35 and 1. I mean, we 4-1. We got to get 4-1. I want to be over
Yeah.
500.
Yeah.
I don't want
Yeah.
to just get to 500. I want to feel it. I really want to feel what it's like to be over 500 this year. That kind of just speaks to it too. I mean, 3-2 just like doesn't do it. Like we
No.
got to have another great week, and it speaks to how sharp you got to be.
Yep. No, it's true.
Also, if we do go with that 4-1, 5-0 this week, we're getting into like dangerous territory with that like 4 or 5 week record the past month or so. I think we're what is it, 13-2 the last 3 weeks. So
12-3.
12-3, 12-3.
Yep. Solid.
Very, very.
And what
Yeah.
what was it? Are we 2 weeks into that final quarter?
1 week.
One weekend.
Oh, so that's right. That's right. I remember you sent the standings. So we're 4-1 to start that out. I mean, another 4-1 or a 5-0. All of a sudden things get
Uh,
serious.
82 entries went 5-0 last week.
I'm curious because I mean, we're gonna have to like play perfect for it to even be a possibility, but I am curious like what that low threshold is to get into the money because what is it, top 100? I mean, I'm sure that there are like a million sharps in this competition, but I'm just curious, like even just get like the lowest payout, what that would take, and what type of hot streak we'd have to go on. But
Yeah. It's
I don't know. I mean, once you get over 500, I feel like anything's possible. I mean, because we're like, we're gonna have to keep it going and stay hot. But it's like, I mean, if we string together a legit week where we're actual contenders in this final quarter, I feel like we got to at least be pushing, at the back end of that top 100. But
hold on 1 second. I want to see what the prize pool.
I just assume you're gonna be hitting near like 60% if you want to try and make some money.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see where the cutout is. Hold on. So they pay out. Yeah, it's top 100. Um, and
If we
then
go 5-0, that gets us to 52%, which I believe is right on that profit line.
all right. So they pay out top 100 right now. There's a bunch of teams tied for 95th, and their record right now is 43, 26, and 1.
Not crazy.
So we're 9 points back.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'd have to go on like
It's only going to happen if we go, 5-0, 4-1, all these weeks moving forward. So it's like, I mean, you have to assume, like, to even entertain it, you got to assume that we're going on like this crazy run. But it's like, if that's all we got to get to, it's really like we're not that out of it. We just like the fact that we can actually put together a strong last quarter and at least be, in that discussion, I think really speaks to
yeah.
it.
All right, so there's what, 4 weeks left, right?
Yeah.
And so that means 20 games. So let's say we go 5-0 twice, 4-1 twice. So that would put us at 18-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we go 18-2,
So it
we'll
would be 52, 37, and 1.
yeah. Yep. So that's 52 divided by what, 80?
90, right? You got us like 58%.
Yeah, 52 divided by 90. Yeah, 58%. Yeah. So,
Hey,
yeah, I mean,
I mean, in the money or not, if we finish at like 58%, that would be pretty awesome.
oh, for sure.
It would be unprecedented for
Like
us.
I think that should be our goal every season is to just finish at a spot where if you just took our picks every week, you'd be profitable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that the better you do, then the better we're gonna finish. And that's
Yeah.
all it is. Just got to 1 week at a time. But
But look, I mean, just start with this week. We go 5-0, and all of a sudden, like, we're in the conversation at least for the
right, that's the
prize.
thing. I mean, 3 weeks ago, this didn't even really seem
Yeah.
attainable, right? Like it was
Yeah.
like for us to put together the stretch that we've been on, who would have thought that we'd be doing that? So I mean, things could be going infinitely worse. So
Yeah.
just got to keep it going. Just got to keep doing what we're doing.
That's right. So, all right. Well, good.
Tristan, have fun today.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll send you guys pics from the game.
Nice.
All the
Are you
bets.
on the field?
I will be at one point. I think we're gonna go down. I'll be in the suite with clients.
Yeah.
And then I've got a whole team of people that are basically, because we're doing organic social for cricket, so we'll be
Yeah.
capturing a bunch of content.
Nice.
And then I think around the third quarter, they said we're gonna try and have everybody go down on the field to get a picture. So
Cool.
yeah.
We'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Get your
Have
bets
fun.
in.
Hope you meet up with Talon. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna text him back. I think we're gonna try and what's he doing for work?
Love sack.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, I gave him a life.
He said I'm clocked in till about 6:30. So
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah, so I'm gonna tell him just come by the hotel after.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. All right. All right, I'll see you guys.
Later.
Unreal. I'll see you guys.